Hello everybody, here we are, and let's continue again. We will just simply work on the same thing. This was the to-do that was remaining to do. So let's simply get it done. So first of all, we have to create a backend code, and as for right now, I already have the code. I mean that's pretty simple one. So let's simply go through that, or we can just write a code on our own. I mean write a piece of code on our own. So it depends exactly what you wanna do. What should we be doing? We already have a Node.js code written, so let's simply continue with that because it's no use rewriting the things, especially when that doesn't make you learn something, right? So for this particular thing, just a minute, give me a second. Over here, this is the code by the way that I have. So what this code does, this piece of code ultimately, what is this? Okay, fine. So ultimately, this is just normal Express code, and over here what we are doing, server IP address. So we just simply get the IP address of the server. So this is used just for that, and we have our root. I mean slash route, home route. Ultimately, this can be called. We have health check route. We have user route. We are just simply returning the server IP address. We have a payment route. We have a port number. That is the simple thing. So ultimately we have our backend already written. So let's simply use this one and try to deploy the things. So we are gonna be working on that part. Okay. So for this particular thing, what I'm gonna be doing, it must have already ended. So yeah. Let me SSH into the there is a problem, but we'll do it anyway. Okay. So first of all, let me SSH into this machine. This is the first Ubuntu machine, if I'm not wrong. Let me just EC2 machine ultimately. So yeah, this is the first one. So what am I gonna be doing over here? Node, I already have the node here, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I have the node. npm init y. Sorry, let's simply stop it. ls mkdir test app is gonna be the name. mkdir test app is gonna be the name. Remove rf test app ls cd test app. This is what we'll have to do in all the apps. So ultimately we will have to configure each and everything again and again as we are doing the things manually. So let's do that anyway. npm init y. We've initialized this ls, so we have this, and npm install. We are gonna be installing Express here. So Express is going to be installed, and then we are just simply gonna be running this. And let me just simply copy the code from here. This is the code that we have. Copy it, and ls. What I'm gonna be doing here, at least for the public ones, I can just simply copy and paste the code from here. So what I can do, this is the public one that I have. Let me refresh it for now, so that it actually gets connected. And once it gets connected, I have to go to the media in my my main local device, Vipendra, projects, and this is where I have this index.js file that I have to just simply copy. So inside this I have my test app, and inside this test app I have these many things. I'm gonna be just simply copying and pasting this thing over here, and it's already here. So in public directories it is directly possible. So I'm gonna be copying, like I'm just directly gonna be pasting the files from here. In what is that thing called, private directories, we'll have to just do it manually. So here we are. The same thing is gonna be happening over here as well. So I actually have to refresh it. So once it is refreshed, I'm not gonna be getting anything anyway. So what is the next thing that I can do? So first of all, over here, ls index.js, we have it, and once we have it, I'm gonna be starting it here. So node index.js. So it is gonna be running. So that's great. Let's go to the second one, and I'm gonna be SSHing into the machine. I hope that's the second machine. So that's the second machine for sure. Do I have a node over here? It turns out I don't have. So let me just quickly install node, copy, and paste it over here. Let node install. Meanwhile, I can go to the third one and enter the password. These are the public EC2 machines that I have created, and I think I don't even have node over here to yeah, I don't have node, so let me install the node here as well. So ultimately node is getting installed at both the places. Once the node is there, npm init y for all and npm install express. That should do the job. Same thing I'm gonna be doing here. npm init mkdir test app ls cd test app ls npm init over here, npm install express over here. The mistake I did in the second one, that is initializing everything here. So remove rf node modules ls remove package everything.json ls. So right now there is nothing. mkdir and test app ls cd test app and npm init gonna be initializing this over here. npm install express, it will be installed, and right now I have express in all of them. Ultimately I have the normal node project initialized. So what I'm gonna be doing here, that I'm in the second one, right? In the first one the whole project is already ready, test app. I have the remaining things there as well. In the second machine, let me refresh this now. So I should have a test app folder here. Test app folder is here, and inside that I have to copy. I have to go to media first of all. Media slash what? Vipendra. Media slash Vipendra slash. Let me do one thing directly over here. I'm gonna be copying this file, pasting it over here. So now I have index.js in the second one as well. Let me go to the third one. And let me refresh the third page as well. And meanwhile, let me go to slash media Vipendra projects and projects, of course. Let me copy. Just a minute, do not do that yet. Ubuntu, I have test app here. Over here I have to just simply copy and paste. So this is also done. So at least the public directories, they are ready. Public EC2 machines, they are ready right now. That simply means one of them is already running here. ls node index.js, second one is also running, and ls node index.js. Well, third one is also running over here. That's great. So ultimately all the public ones they are running. Now I have to SSH into the private EC2 instances as well. So let me from one public EC2 instance, I'm gonna be SSHing into the other private EC2 instances. So suppose this is the public one that I have here. I'm gonna be copying this. First of all, I need to SSH into this particular machine. So let me copy this. Let me go here, enter sudo password ls. If you run stop over here, one process should already be running, and that is this node index. Node index is already running there. Okay, so what can we do now? The next thing that we can do here, that is from here I'm gonna be SSHing into the private machines. So SSH sudo SSH Vipendra Ubuntu @ what is the IP of the first machine, private machine? That's gonna be this one actually, and the IP is this, that private IP, this one. Let me SSH into this ls. Okay, and what I have to do from here, that first of all I should have node here. Yeah, I have node here anyway. Quit Control C. Alrighty. So once I have node here, so mkdir test app ls cd test app. Ignore the background noise, just the work is going on. npm init. It is initialized. npm install express. And one thing that I have to do here, that is copying and pasting the whole code on my own. So what I will do, ls vim index.js, paste everything over here, save it, and the job is done. It was even quicker than earlier. It is running right now over here. Great. And similarly, I'm inside the first private EC2 machine. Let me do the same again. Let me SSH into this particular machine first of all. What was the IP of the first one? From first public machine, this was the IP 200. So this is the code. I'm gonna be just simply running this. Can I copy it? Yeah, that's already here anyway. Let's simply run this 3241 ls and history. So never mind, first of all let's do one thing. I'm gonna be installing node here. So for installing the node, copy it. No, not even node yet. I have to SSH into the private machine first of all. So from here, what is the second private machine? That is this one. This is the private IP of that machine. Coming back to this one, ls sudo ssh and Vipendra Ubuntu @ private machine's IP address, and let's simply run this here. Yes, now I'm inside that particular private machine, and ls, and once I'm inside that particular private machine, first of all I will be installing node over here. So let's do it like this, and similarly I have to SSH into that machine again. Like I have to SSH into the public machine, and then from the public one I will be SSHing into the private ones. So sudo ssh input. First of all let's talk about this one because it is installed. So ls mkdir test app cd test app ls npm init y and npm install express vim index.js. Of course I'm gonna be copying the whole code that is written here, and will be pasting over here. Done. Close everything. Node index.js. This is also running. So all the public EC2 machines running. This private machine is running. The second private machine is also running the code. Let's switch to the third one. So Vipendra Ubuntu @ the third private machine. What is the private IP address of that? Third private EC2 machine. This is the one. The private IP address is this, and let me paste it over here. Yes. Alrighty, I'm inside the third private EC2 machine. Of course I have to install Node.js, so copy, paste it over here. So just a minute. Node.js is installed. mkdir test app ls npm init this npm install express, just like this. And once the express is installed over here, vim index.js, and ultimately I need to copy the same code again one more time, actually the last time. Let me paste it over here and save everything. Node index.js. So ultimately what is happening, I have three public EC2 machines over here. I have three private EC2 machines, and my application is running in all of them right now. So okay, we don't really need to worry about it. And as my application is running in all of them, the next thing is that I will try to access the code of the public ones. But before that, I will have to make sure that the security group that I have here, security groups, I have two security groups mainly right now. I have first of all public test app security group, that simply means public test app SG security group, and then I have private test app SG. So I have mainly these two groups over here, and public is for the public ones and private is for the private ones. If I click on the public one, because I'm gonna be playing with that right now, I will actually enable SSH is enabled. I'm gonna be enabling the request on port 3000 if I'm not wrong. So the request is gonna be coming on port 3000. It will be for all, so 000, and let me just simply save it. So what should happen now? I should be able to make a request from my local machine and should be getting the result. Let's see. So talking about the instances over here, the first public instance is this, the IP address is this. If I make a request to this particular IP address here, I'm getting the result hello world. Great. If I make the request to the user, I'm getting the address like IP of that particular user, like private IP of the user. That's great. If I make a request to the health, well, that spelling is wrong, HEALTH, health, I'm getting okay over here. So ultimately it is working. Let's check the second one. By the way, if the first one is working, most probably others are gonna be working as well, but we'll have to definitely check that. So first one is done. Let's go through the second public test, second one. This is not the private but the public one. This is the IP address, and let me do 3000/health over here, and let's see whether we are gonna be getting the response or not. This is working. We are getting this okay over here. That simply means it worked. Lastly, we have one more, and that is the third public app, this one. And let me copy this URL, I mean kind of the IP address, private public IP address, and suppose I'm gonna be sending the request to the root directory. I'm getting hello world over here. That simply means it works. So all the public servers, they are running, so okay, no need to worry about them. The private ones, they are also running, but the thing is that as they are private EC2 instances, you cannot really make the request directly. So even if you try to make a request to this private IP address and 3000, that's it, it will not go there. This mainly works for the VPS. So if you are making this request from one EC2 instance to the another, this will be working, otherwise this will not work. So how will it work? For this thing, I'll actually have to go to inside machine. So let me SSH into this machine. Everything else is working, and from here I can make a request called and HTTP on this particular IP address 3000. I should be able to get the result. Let's see. I'm getting hello world over here. That simply means yes, it does work. The second IP is what 3000 should remain here, but okay, let's not worry about that. The second private IP is this was the first private IP. Probably not. Let me enter this 3000. Am I gonna be getting hello world? And did I get the hello world here? If I make a request from here, will I get the result? That's yet to be seen. Am I going to get the result here? Why am I not getting the result here? 3007. First of all, I'm definitely not gonna be getting any result over here, so that's for sure. So let's not worry about that. And the second thing is that over here, this is the private test app first one. I hope called HTTP colon second one colon 3000. The second one is not running for some reason. We'll have to figure it out anyway. The third one, what is the IP address of that? The third private test app, this is the one. The private IP address is 1331. Okay, fine. So it should be 13, 31 if I make a request here. Curl rejected this. Interesting. Curl HTTP. So the third one that I have here, private test app 3, this is the IP address. If I actually make a request to this is also not working. Interesting. Stop it. So from only one of them seem to be working right now. The third private address, this is not working. The second one, this worked initially, I think. For HTTP colon 3000. So which one worked initially? I got hello world 250. So which one has 250? This is the public IP 1. So ultimately what is happening over here, I'm not able to send the request to the private, like not able to get the result from there. So okay, come on yaar, there is one thing, we haven't set the group, I mean security groups for them. So if I actually go to the security group right now, security groups, that's what I was wondering, what's the reason? Because we have run the application there, right? So we should be getting the result as well. As we are not getting the result, that simply means we haven't set the security group and we haven't. So private, this is the one. I have to edit inbound rules. I'm gonna be adding one more. I want to enable 3000 000. Save the changes over here. Once this is done, now if from one EC2 instance I'm gonna be making the request to curl, suppose which one was the first one? I think this was the first one. So let me copy and paste over here. Here we are getting hello world. The second IP was this, so ultimately this. So let me copy and paste over here. We are getting hello world here. The third IP 207.31. What is the 12? Where is the 12? 12 is not here. So curl http colon. Let me get the second one. This is the second one. 32 colon 3000, and now we are getting hello world. So ultimately we are getting the response. We can even say health, we are going to be getting okay. We can say user, we are going to be getting this particular message. We can say payment, we are going to be getting this particular message. Let's simply clear everything. Everything seems to be working. What is the next thing? The next thing is that we have to load balance the request. For that thing, what will I be doing? Now here we are, and what do we have here? We have three private, how can I filter them? Control F, private, come on, sorry. So yeah, we have three private EC2 instances, and we have three public EC2 instances, just like this. So we have three public, we have three private, and I have to create a load balancer for them. So before even creating the load balancer, I have to create the target groups. So let me create the target group. I'll click on this. It is gonna be for instances, and target group name is gonna be test app. First of all, let's create the target group for the public one. So test app, public test app target group. Simple. So once we have done this, protocol for communication between load balancer and target. Okay, port number where targets receive traffic. Port number where targets receive traffic can be overridden for individual targets. So let me see. What should I enter? Should I enter 3000 over here? What should I enter over here while creating a target group if my backend is running on port 3000? I think it should be 3000 if I'm not wrong. If your backend is running on 3000, so what you should enter protocol and port number 3000. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it should be 3000. So this means load balancer when we forward the request to this port 3000. So internally it becomes this. Yeah. So coming back to this, it should be 3000. It is just simply saying what? Port number. Just a minute. First of all, protocol for communication between the load balancer and the targets. So what's gonna be the communication between the load balancer and the target? What is the target? Target is gonna be the EC2 instances, and port number where target receives traffic. Target in the sense my app can be overridden for individual targets during registration. So this is done. I'm gonna be having 3000 over here, and the health check period. Okay, health check is gonna be health route. We already have it, and that is it. We don't really need to do anything else. This is just the target group that we are creating. So let's simply click on next. Now the question comes, if I were using R2 scaling group, so that would be just simply selecting the instances on its own, right? But we don't have any target here. What am I missing? Why doesn't it have any target? Cancel it here. I'm creating a target group. I have the EC2 instances running here. Some of them are public, some of them are private. If I actually go here, create a target group, instances, of course it is for the instances application. Supports load balancing in two instances in a VPC, integrate with the R2 scaling groups and ECS services. Yeah, that's what I want. Target group name, that's gonna be public TS test app target group. HTTP, it will be receiving the request on port 3000. VPC, we did not select the VPC. This should be the VPC over here, and the request will be going to health check, will be going to this particular route, and let's simply click on next. Right now I'm getting these, but as this is the public load balancer, I have to select only public. So this, these three, again I'm selecting it, I'm selecting them here manually, but if you were using R2 scaling groups, it just simply selects on its own. We will even work on that, but public EC2 instances are selected, and the request load will be balanced among these three ones. And let's simply click on next, and let's simply click on create target group. The group is created right now. Great. Now it's time to create the load balancer. So create load balancer, application one of course, and load balancer. So public test app load balancer, this is the one that I'm creating. Internet facing, everything is fine. VPC is gonna be test app VPC that we have created. As for availability zones, we are gonna be selecting all of them, because our EC2 instances, they are running on all these three availability zones. And security group, let me create a security group for this. So that's security group name is gonna be suppose load public load balancer security group. It's gonna allow public one should be allowing what? HTTP allows what allows? It allows load balancer only allows HTTP request. That's simple. And HTTPS probably. So it's gonna be allowing these both, and it will be for this particular VPS. And inbound rules, what are gonna be the inbound rules? So it will be allowing HTTP 0. Let me add one more. It will be allowing HTTPS. Hopefully I'm gonna be get that HTTPS from everywhere. Rules, UV recommended setting security group rules allow access from known IP address only. Okay, that's fine. This is for the testing purpose. That's okay. Allow all traffic outbound. Let's simply create the security group. So this security group has been created, and if I go back here again, if I refresh this, so now these three public test app security group, these are the app security groups. This is the load balancer, public load balancer security group. Default is gonna be there, that's fine as well. So I have two of them. HTTP, it will be getting the request on port 80, that is fine. Forward the request. Target group is gonna be public test app target group, the group that we have created. And that is it. That's all that you needed to just do. So load balancing, you can just simply add the tags, completely up to you. But HTTP request will be getting to this. This is the target group that we have over here, the one that got created by us recently. And we have security groups over here. We have these availability zones. We have 3 EC2 instances. They are using 3 different availability zones, so that's okay. It's good to have them here. And VPS, we have this overall things we have configured the right way. Let's simply click load balancer. So ultimately load balancer is created for public EC2 instances. That simply means if I go to the target group right now, I have this target group. If I click on this, it is saying what? It is saying nothing, but it should be saying something. We have the load balancer over here. Load balancer is provisioning. That simply means let's wait for a while. It is just simply provisioning right now. And internet facing application provisioning, host zone, and it is using these 3 availability zones. VPC is this, that simply means the VPC test app that we created actually. So it is using that same VPC, test app VPC. And meanwhile let me ask, what is a VPC? It is just a network, internal network provided by AWS. But let's refine it. So what is VPC? Simple definition: a VPC, virtual private cloud, is your own isolated virtual network inside AWS where you control everything. So yeah, your own isolated virtual network inside AWS where you control everything. It is just a network, not just a network. It's more powerful. It is fully customized the network environment. So what you control inside VPS? Inside VPS you define IP addresses, range, CIDR, block, subnet, public, private, route tables, internet accessing, IGW, NAT, security groups, NACL. So it's like building your own data center network in the cloud, a real world analogy. Okay, let's not go through that. Okay, so we've done it. Coming back to this one. Hopefully the provisioning is done by now. Refresh this. It is still provisioning it. It is saying that forward target to this particular one. So that's right. Probably I'll have to. It is already added, isn't it? It will be getting the request to this. The request will be forwarded to this particular security group. That's fine. If I check the security group right now, refresh it for a while. Just a sec. Refresh this. As I think load balancer is still being provisioned. So I have to wait for a while. Yeah, provisioning is being done. Until unless it is done, we can't really do anything. Meanwhile, we can do one thing. We can create another target group for the private ones, right? So let's do that. So what am I gonna do here? That let's create a target group, one more, and this is gonna be private test app target group, just like this. This is the name. HTTP, the request will be coming on port 3000. Same app is running just in the private private EC2 instances, and the VPC is gonna be this one, and health route is again gonna be the same. So this is how we are gonna be going ahead. Overall things are simple, so let's simply get going. Okay, and right now, instead of selecting the public ones, I'm gonna be selecting the private EC2 instances. The port is gonna be 3000 by default. Let's simply click on next, and overall things are gonna be the register pending targets only. We noticed you have some sections that are not included as pending. If you want to include them, okay, continue. So this is done, target is created. Let me go to the load balancer. This load balancer is active. We will get another load balancer for the private ones. But first of all, let's see if I go to the target group right now and select the public target group, and just simply click on this, refresh this over here. You have 0 healthy, 0 unhealthy. Should it be that? Definitely something is missed. We should have some registered targets here. It should definitely have some registered targets. We added the targets, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Like this is the, these are the target groups. Suppose this is the private one. Do we have registered target? No, we don't. What is the problem? Load balancer, that is active, and if I click on listeners, it just simply forwards to that. Not getting anything here. We'll have to register the targets. Is that so? Yeah, sort of like that. I think we do need to register the target again. I tried registering it initially. I don't know what happened. It couldn't get registered for some reason. So this is the load balancer we have. Introducing ALB target optimizer. Network mapping. It is mapped to that. Okay, resource map. This forward to target group will be forwarded to what? Forward to target group instance ADP, no targets. There are no targets as such. So though I tried to add the targets, they could not be added. So let me do one thing. Private, public. Let me go to the public ones. Registered targets. And these were the ones that we. Oh, I forgot to do this thing. Include as pending below. I did not add this. So let me just simply add them here. By the way, they are gonna be the public ones. So 1, 2, 3, because this is the public test app target. So let's simply include them. The last time I forgot to include them, and because of that thing we were getting error. They're just simply getting initialized. The same thing I need to do here as well. Inside target groups, I have the private target groups, and I have to just register 1, 2, 3. These private ones, include them, and then register as pending. Okay, the last time I missed it, do not miss it. So this particular thing is done. Now we have target groups. Inside them we have all the targets that they are targeting. So they are targeting these ones. So private target group is targeting private EC2 instances, and public target group is targeting public EC2 instances. If I check the health check and all, so it is just simply saying that all of them are well running. That simply means if I go to my load balancer, and in my load balancer I've got this DNS over here. Let's copy this DNS, go to this and enter. You are getting hello world over here. Better if you enter user over here, then what will you be getting? You are getting this IP address. We have 3 machines that are registered in the target group. That simply means when you send a request to this load balancer, that load balancer will be load balancing the request among these 3 EC2 machines. That simply means this IP will keep changing. So reload it, second IP, reload it, third IP. So we have 3 EC2 instances, and the request is first of all going to the first instance, then the second instance, then the third instance. So and this is the private IP of the EC2 instances. So this just keeps happening, 250, 39, 169, 250, 39, 169. So sequentially the request just simply keeps going to or keeps hitting those load balancers. It works for public EC2 instances. Let's talk about the private EC2 instances. So what am I gonna be doing? I have already created a target group for the private EC2 instances. This is the target group. It is targeting these 3 private EC2 instances that we have. But the thing is that these 3 private EC2 instances, they do not have the public IP. That simply means only from only inside VPC, inside your virtual private cloud network, you can just simply send the request. Outside, you cannot hit these EC2 instances directly. You can send the request from one EC2 machine to the other. So we will be SSHing into a machine, and then we'll be sending a request to these. We'll be sending the request to the load balancer that we have yet to create. Okay, so let me go to the load balancer and create a load balancer. Of course, this is gonna be application load balancer, and I'm gonna be click on create. I'm gonna click actually. Then this is gonna be private test app load balancer. This is gonna be the private one. That simply means if you send the, you will get the DNS, you will not get the public DNS if I'm not wrong. Let's see, because I'm doing it for the first time, so I have no idea what all you are gonna be getting, but we have yet to see that. By the way, this is gonna be the VPS. I'm gonna be enabling all because we have 3 subnets, private subnets, and they belong they are different. They are using different first of all, let me make sure that it is so or not. Just a minute. So when it comes to this, so whenever we are creating subnets, at that time it does ask for availability zones, right? So if this is the diagram that I created actually. So it does ask for auto scaling group. So whenever you create a subnet, it asks like which auto scale availability zone it should belong to. So we have created 3 subnets, private subnets, and they are using 3 different availability zones. That is why I'm selecting all of them over here. And create security group. We have created a security group for public load balancer. Let me create one more security group for the private load balancer. So private test app load, what was the name of the first one, bro? Forgot that. Security group, private test app security group, private test app security group. Not this one. How many security groups I have? This one that I created actually, public load balancer security group. So let's name it with that, public load balancer security group. It's better to just simply name them so that you can just simply easily have a look at them. 2 public test app security group and private test app security group. We had this for the normal EC2 instances. Public load balancer security group is this, and then one more we have to create, that is private load balancer security group. Done. Allow SSH. We are gonna be allows HTTP and HTTP. Yes. VPS is gonna be the not the default, rather the test app VPS. Inbound rules. So it will have 2 inbound rules actually. First one will be allowing HTTP. We will even add certificates, and second one will be allowing HTTPS. This one, this should be 000. That's simply all the IP addresses, like the request should be allowed from anywhere. And overall things are done. Create security group. This is created. If I come back here again, refresh it, now I should be getting that private load balancer security group that we have recently created. Done. That is added. HTTP request will be received at this. So load balancer will be receiving the request on port 80. It will be forwarding the request to the private test app target group. That's right. It needs to forward there, and that is it. That simply means whatever you were supposed to be doing, that is done. Let's simply click on load balancer, create load balancer. Load balancer is created, it is being provisioned, and you are getting this private test app. So you are getting the DNS name, but this is gonna be the private DNS name. So even if you send the request from here, from your local browser, you will not get the result. But if you send the request from the EC2 instance, inside the any EC2 instance that is inside that particular VPS network, then you will be getting the result. But again, we need to wait for a while, and it will be sending the request to the private test app target group that we have created. That target group will be deciding where the request should be reaching at the end. Pretty simple. So let's see. Again, gotta wait for a while actually. This provisioning takes around a minute, so I'll have to wait for till then. And ultimately, when it comes to the load balancer, so we have two load balancers right now. One is the public. Public ones directly works because public load balancer is used for public EC2 instances. So whenever you send any request to the public load balancer, it forwards the request to the public EC2 instances and it works. But when it comes to this private EC2 instances, so whenever you are going to be sending the request to the load balancer, it will be sending the request to the private EC2 instances, and that does not work. That will not work. Even here, let's see. First of all, let it be provisioned. First of all, because again, this thing is, I'm doing it for the first time, so I have no idea how this private thing is gonna work. Public is okay. It's simple. It just simply redirects to port 3000. Private one will also work. So what actually happens that whenever you send a request to the private over here, what will happen actually, that from the outside world you cannot make a request. You will have to make the request inside the VPS only. So suppose you are inside any machine, suppose you are inside this machine. So when you are making a request for this particular EC2 instance, so what will happen, the request will go here, public subnet, and the request will ultimately go to the route. Okay, so if that is a public route, if that is a public EC2 instance that you are in, so you will be making a request. So the request will go to its subnet. Okay, so the request will go here, and subnet ultimately using subnet's route, the request will be routed. So what will happen? Subnet has its route table. In the route table, you have already defined that what? You have defined this. Let me show you what you have defined inside subnet. You have the route table. Inside the route table, what have you defined? So when it comes to the, suppose you are inside a public EC2 instance, and from there you are making the request. So here, what have you done? You are just simply saying that if the request comes to if the IP address of the request is within this range 10.0.0.0, that is a local request and should be locally handled. That simply means when you will make a request to this or any, even if there is 1 or 11, that doesn't really matter, until as long as that is within this particular range. So that will be considered a local local request, and as that is gonna be considered as a local request, so your router will be forwarding back to the locally. So your router will say, okay, this is the local request, then it will just see the IP address, and once it sees the IP address, it will be just simply forwarding the request to that particular EC2 machine, private IP address of course, and this is how it will be done. Can you make the request from the outside? Not really, because when it comes to the when it comes to the private load balancer and all, at that time you do not have the public IP address, right? You only have the private IP address, hence you can only make the request inside this VPS only. And when you are making the request, suppose from here you are making the request, inside VPS you have your load balancer. So if you are requesting to the load balancer, so from here the request will go to the load balancer, then load balancer will forward the request to the target group. Target group will do what? Once you actually send the request from here, even before that, it will send the request to the target group. Target group already knows that this and these are the three of them are private EC2 instances. So it will forward. It will what will it do? So once this is done, even before that, load balancer is already inside this. So when you send the request, load balancer is already here. Load balancer will use the target group. Target group will send the request, and when target group sends the request either to this or to this or to this, it will use the public. It will use the, what is this called? A route table. Route table will say, okay, whichever IP address you have that belongs to the local VPC only. That belongs to the VPC category only. Hence, subnet category only. So not subnet category, sort of subnet category, yeah. So this is the local request ultimately. So I'm gonna be redirecting you directly to that particular EC2 instance. So this is how it's gonna be done. So yeah, simple. Even we have to see now what comes first. So whenever I'm making a request from the EC2 instance, suppose this is the public EC2 instance, that simply means the request will go to the load balancer. Load balancer will use the what? Load balancer will use target group. Target group will use their subnet table, route table, and then will forward the request and all. So this is how it should actually happen. But let's see. By now it should be done. Let's see. Refresh it. Yeah. So this is active. So we have our private EC2 instance. I have my DNS name over here. Will it work from the outside world? And the answer is, why is it working? I should not work. Yeah. Let me see. User. Well, it is working. Don't know for what reason. 12, 13. Literally it is working. Load balancer. La. Okay, I thought I was damn sure that it would not work. I was thinking that from the inside the VPS machine it will, network it will work. But time to just ask questions. Look, I have my private EC2 instances, and then I actually created a load balancer and a target group. So load balancer gave me DNS. The thing is that that DNS, when I make a request from my local browser, that actually works. So what is actually happening here? I thought when I enter that DNS inside a particular any EC2 instance, so from an EC2 instance I should be able to hit the private EC2 instances, but as this load balancer is managing those private EC2 instances, it is actually able to get the result from those EC2 private EC2 instances even when I make a request from the local browser. Whew. That's actually strange behavior. What you are saying is correct behavior. It means your architecture is working. Why your browser can access private EC2 instances even though they are private? Because you are not accessing private EC2 instances directly. You are accessing your browser load balancer DNS, load balancer, and private EC2 instances. The key idea: load balancer is public. Your EC2 is private. So load balancer has public DNS, public IP. Private EC2 has only private IP. So what actually happens, you hit the load balancer, DNS resolves public IP of load balancer, request enters AWS browser, internet, IGW, load balancer. So yeah, that's sort of right. The load balancer is inside AWS. Load balancer is in public subnet, so it can receive traffic. That's right. Load balancer forwards request to ALB, checks target group, your private EC2 instances, and pick one instance, then sends the request like this. Private EC2 instance. Private EC2 responds. If it were my public load balancer, so the request goes here, and so target group already knows the private IP address. So target group private EC2 instances picks one instance, then sends the request like this. Private EC2 response, your node just sends response back to ALB. ALB sends request to you private. Okay, that's fine. Why this works, important thing. Private EC2 cannot access directly from internet, but they can be accessed indirectly via public service inside a VPS ALB load balancer. What is the full form? Arey bhai, what is the full? AWS load balancer. What is the full form of ALB here? Lovely, yeah, that's amazing. ALB na, arey bhai, ALB B. Yeah, ALB. Application load balancer. Yeah. So, application load balancer. So when I send a request via application load balancer, the request goes to the target group. That simply means target group knows the private IP addresses of the EC2 instances, right? So we have ALB application load balancer, we have NLB network, TCP, UDP, very fast, low level, blah blah blah. ALB application load balancer used for traffic like a Node.js app. Yes, you are absolutely right. With one small refinement, what you said refined. Target group knows the private IP address of EC2 instances. Correct idea, but more precisely, target group stores the registered targets EC2 instances along with their private IP and port number. What actually happens internally, you register your EC2 instances. When you create a target group, you add EC2 instances, AWS automatically tracks a private IP and port number, suppose 3000. ALB uses the target group application load balancer. When a request comes, ALB target group pick a healthy, whatever you call that, and EC2 instance request forwarded to this blah blah blah. Congratulations, we have what? Uncover the mystery. We've done it, yeah. That's amazing. And even we ended up learning a lot of things. I literally thought that using normal ALB, I mean, you will not be able to get the request from private EC2 instances, but guess what? You are able to get that. And we even know that why it is actually happening. So it is happening mainly because the target group that you assign to any EC2 instance that does know the IP address, private IP address, and because of that thing it is actually able to forward it. If you actually able to try to get the request directly just from the private EC2 instances, you will not be able to, but if you are using load balancer, you will be able to. So this is how it just simply goes on. So never ever, probably you should not do that. You should not load balance as per the need. So this is how it just simply goes. Alrighty, now what are we gonna be doing? I'm gonna be just simply stopping all of them. It's been amazing actually. Is this just a minute, bro? Have I done something? Load balancer instances. How many instances I have? This many. What will I do? Select all of them. Terminate. I don't care. Delete them. Learning is done. Congratulations. We've gone through it. Whatever we had to go. We know the things, how things actually work, how this VPS works. We have created such a good diagram over here. It explains almost everything. This is such a good diagram that we created. Coming back to this, they are being terminated. What do I have to do next? Let me go to the load balancer. These are the two load balancers I have. Before that, I will have to delete the target group. I will have to delete the load balancer first. Delete. Alright. So this particular thing is done. Now I'm gonna be learning something more. Will be explain. What the hell? Sorry. Public test. Hasn't that load balancer been deleted? I don't have any load balancer as such yet. So how about the target groups? None associated. If I try to delete this, okay, it's deleted. Elastic IPs, I have my NAT, and that is why I have these IPs. I'm gonna be deleting all of them very soon. And key pairs, this extra one that I got from the EKS. Let me delete this. Okay, this thing is done. Volumes, well, we didn't really work with this. instances we have deleted all of them. Refresh it. There must be getting terminated. Yeah, template spot this volumes. We have to delete the elastic IPs, but before that let me go here, VPCs, your VPCs, and this is the default VPC anyway. I have created this one, so I'm gonna be deleting this VPC, but you cannot delete that. It is simply saying that unable to delete. It is using NAT gateway. So first of all, let's go to that particular NAT gateway. So this is the NAT gateway that I have. Let me click on this and delete this NAT gateway. But let's see. So this NAT gateway is deleted. Congratulations. Now if I try to delete my VPC, it is saying that VPC contains one or more NAT gateways. Right? I think it contains what NAT gateways. It's being deleted, right? Yeah. It has internet gateway, I think, because of that. So let me delete this as well. Detach. Internet gateway cannot be detached as there are some mapped. Yeah, let's do one thing. Cannot detach. I have to go to route table, and in this particular route table, I have to remove the NAT first of all from here, and the another thing is that I have this public one. I have to remove this internet gateway from here. Save changes, and once this is done, then I should be able to delete my VPC from here. And turns out yes, you can delete after that. So this VPC is going to be deleted. Initially, you know what? If you are directly creating the EC2 instance, AWS does all these things for you. And honestly, just 2 days back, I just came to know about this thing. Before even that, I didn't even have any idea. Literally, I thought, okay, VPC, I knew it. I knew that something gets created called VPC, but I had no idea exactly how it works and all. So yeah, you should know about all these things. I mean, they're simply crazy. Once you understand, you will feel like, okay, now I know I can just simply do whatever I want. It just simply goes on like this. Delete subnets. Oh no. Nah. Failed. Subnets do not exist. Subnet, no matching found. Okay, I deleted my VPC, hence all the subnets got deleted. And route tables. So this is the default one. Let me delete this. Okay. Can I delete internet gateway? I cannot yet. So let me do one thing. Let me go to the route tables. This is the default one. It is not using any. And this is also not using any. This is the private one. This is also not using any. So should be able to sort of delete them. This is the one that is remaining. Let me remove it from here. Save it. Deleting. There was error. Delete. No route destination. Okay, fine. Cancel. Route table. Refresh it. Oh, I think when you delete your VPCs, all the routes get deleted automatically. Amazing, yeah, lovely. Route tables, and yeah, all the routes got deleted. We have the only default one over here. Internet gateway, you can delete the. I think even that got deleted. Wow, as you delete that, everything gets deleted. Great. Few things you will have to delete. Few things automatically get deleted, so you don't really need to worry about that. And elastic IPs. There are no elastic IPs found. Great. NAT gateways. This one will be deleted for sure. And internet gateway we don't have. We just have a default one. Thankfully, we are not charged for these. Route gateway done. What does this do? It just simply, this is the default one anyway. Subnets. Your VPCs. We have just only one. Great. So congratulations, we've done it. Everything's almost done. And the next thing is that if I go to the elastic IPs here, and I'll have to select all of them. I'll have to release all of them. No elastic IPs. literally. Even all the elastic IPs get deleted, so you don't really need to worry about it. Congratulations. And even instances. That is it. All these things are gonna be deleted automatically. So that was it that I wanted to discuss here. There are a lot of things to cover, so I'm gonna be covering them very soon as possible. And this is how our learning will keep going on, and we'll keep learning. What else? Okay, so I'm gonna be catching up soon. Now I didn't think like it would be done so quickly. I thought it would take a lot of time, but lucky for us, we got it done really quickly. And so that was it for now. I'm gonna be catching up soon once I actually learn something new. Until then, take care, bye bye, and see you. And keep coding. Take care.